Episode 5, 3B Thursday. Let's get after it. This week, I'm going to tell you 3 key components you need to add in every single video you film in order to step up your game. Component number 1, never have a still shot. What I mean by that, I know I've talked about this before, but it is seriously so important. You either want the object moving, you want the camera moving, or you want both things moving. Now, there are times where you see in movies where there's a cinematic shot and nothing is happening in the frame and it kind of lingers on that shot. Obviously, those are always good to have in the back of your mind when you're filming that aesthetic style. But for normal videos, for normal product videos, you always want to have at least something moving. This key component is quite simple, but it is very important, which is why I'm re-emphasizing it. So again, always want to be moving your camera. You always want to be moving something. It can be slow and gradual, or you can come up fast and fly into your shot, but movement is going to be your best friend. You want to give your viewer something to look at, and if you're not moving, it's not going to be interesting. Key component number 2, always plan ahead with your transition. Everything I'm envisioning prior to the shoot will be written down on a piece of paper, a notepad, what have you. I like to have 2 notebooks when I'm filming. I have my notebook of what I planned out with all my transitions, the style I'm going for, the props I'm going to need, as explained in my last video or the one before that. And then I also always have my tricks and bullet points of things that I've learned in the past and things I don't want to forget whenever I go into filming. I like to write a list of transitions that I am aiming to capture that aren't easy in just editing, something that you're going to need to set yourself up for while you're filming. But I also like to write up my backup transitions. If a transition fails or it looks good in the moment, but I have some doubt that it's not going to pull through in editing, I like to always have a second option of how I can transition into that shot. Some tips that I like to do when I'm planning my transitions is, do I want the beginning of my shot kind of blurred out and I move into it so it's focused? Do I want to come up from an object, from a counter or from a chair, from behind a chair, and move up to show what I'm focusing on at the end? But I like to write them down prior, so that way when I'm in the filming process, I don't miss out on not having movement in my shots, and it kind of gives me something to help creative wise and help myself envision how I want the final edit to look. So filming your transitions can also give you ideas when it comes to editing. Key component number 3, another thing I like to plan ahead, is my angles and shot types. Whenever I storyboard, whether I'm writing my shot list or I'm drawing it out, depending on if I need to draw it out, I try to avoid doing that. I always put in what type of shot it's going to be or what I'm envisioning it to be. If I want it to be a close-up in the top right corner or an asterisk, it will say CU as close-up, extreme close-up, medium wide shot, what have you. Whatever shot you're envisioning, I'll always write it down, because sometimes in the moment I'll forget myself how I envision the shot, and if I end up capturing it a different way because it looked good in the moment, I like to look back and see, would it have looked better if I did it the way I had envisioned it in my head, or did it come out better when I filmed it raw without looking at what shot I wanted it to be. There's something in my eye. Oh, this is so freaking hard. Be willing to try and fail. Sometimes I'll write things down on paper and I just expect it to be perfect. And then I'm filming and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This looks like shit. No shot is taken once. Envisioning and reality are 2 competitors when it comes to filming. They can either be your best friend or they can be your enemy. That is why it is always important to plan everything out on paper, write it down, envision it, close your eyes and picture how you think the shots are going to look. And then when you're in filming, you can prove that theory, see if it actually helped, if it works, if it didn't, and kind of just go from there. So always write down a few options so that way you have the flexibility while you're filming, in case you're in that moment and you're just stressed or you're trying to make other shots work and you're kind of hitting your wall, your creative wall. We all hit those. You have some written down, because sometimes I'll blank in the moment and I'll just be like, screw it, I'll just film it how I know, and I won't take it as a cool shot. I'll just put it up on a tripod. Obviously you can do that, but always give yourself a few different types of shots on paper so everything is just smooth while you're filming. All right, so that was my 3 key components for this week. I hope it helps as it helped me. You need to grow patience. You need to write everything down, and you're gonna hit a creative block. It's okay. So writing it down hopefully alleviates that pain. But thank you for tuning in. I will see you next week for episode 7 of 3B Thursday.